Hi, my name is Lindsey Rozmes. Welcome to this intermediate vinyasa flow. In this class, we'll be working toward full split or Hanumanasana. For our class, we'll need a strap and a set of blocks. Let's begin seated in Dandasana with your strap nearby. So extend your legs out long in front of you. Flex through the toes. Find your sit bones. Sit up nice and tall, and then wrap the strap around the ball of your right foot. Hold on to either end of the strap, your right hand, your left hand, and then tighten up the grip so that you can find the back body moving forward and the lift of the chest here, widening across your collarbones. Keep both of your legs long, like you're doing a cat pose. Round your pelvis underneath of you and start to lift your right leg up toward the ceiling as you lie all the way down on your back. Let your elbows swing a little wide so that there's room for the breath to move to the space between or underneath the armpits. Keep pressing forward through your left foot too. And as more space becomes available to you in the back of the right leg, you can choke up on this strap and find a little bit more sensation. Listen carefully. We're going to use the tension that the strap creates wrapped around the ball of the right foot to help us come up for a half-supported Navasana or boat pose. Lift your head, neck, and shoulders off the ground. Let the front ribs drop down toward the floor. And then let your right leg drift forward. Come up to sit. Find this half Navasana or boat pose. Pull the elbows back, widen across the collarbones. And then lower your right leg down next to the left one. We're going to do that 2 more times. First, this time, lift your right leg up. Bend the elbows. Tuck the tailbone underneath of you, round onto your back body, lift your right leg straight up. Lift your head, neck, and shoulders. Let your right heel drift a little forward. Find the tension on the strap, come up half Navasana. Lower your right leg down. One more time, right heel lifts up. Round down onto your back, lift the right heel straight up toward the ceiling. Lift head, neck, and shoulders. Send the right heel forward. Come up, half Navasana, half boat pose. Lower your right leg down next to the left one. Nice. Take the strap around the ball of the left foot. Use the tension on the strap to lift the chest and spread across the collarbones. Keep your right leg long, keep your right heel pressing forward. Round the spine, tuck the tailbone underneath of you, lift the left leg straight up to the sky. For this first time, we'll hang out for a few breaths. Widen the elbows, soften the gripping of your belly. Good. Lift your head, neck, and shoulders off the floor. Let your left leg drift forward some. Use the tension on the strap to sit up, half Navasana, half boat pose. Lower your left heel down. Twice more like this. You'll lift your left heel first. Round your way onto your back. Supta Padangusthasana A. Open up the belly of the left hamstring. And then lift head, neck, and shoulders from your center. Come on up. Left leg stays lifted. Left heel lowers down. One more time. Left leg lifts. With control, make your way onto your back body. Left heel drifts a little forward, head, neck, and shoulders lift. Last time, half Navasana. Lower your left leg down next to the right one. Good. Take this strap and move it aside. Bring your hands to the mat behind you. Bend your knees and place your feet on the floor. We'll take an upward facing tabletop. Press into the heels, lift your hips up in line with your knees and your shoulders. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Lower your seat down to the mat. Cross at your shins, downward facing dog. Tuck the heels underneath of you, plant your palms, lift your seat up and back. Take a moment to climb into yourself here. Shift your weight from side to side. Lift the outer hips up, back, and away from your hands. Give your head a little shake out and let the back of the neck release. Press out long into a plank pose. Resist back through your heels as you position your chest over your thumbs. Tap your knees down, child's pose. And for this first child's pose here, you can let your elbows soften down to the floor. Allow gravity to take your seat back and down gradually, little by little. And remember, at any point in the practice, if you need to tap your shins down and rest in this place, it's most important to listen to your body. Climb on up to your hands and your knees. Curl your toes under, downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Reach your right leg straight up and back. Do your best to keep your hips level and squared off. Step your right foot forward between your thumbs, find a low lunge. Tap your left shin down to the floor. Untuck your left toes and then reach your arms forward and up, crescent moon pose. Find the top of your left foot, press down into it, and see if that helps you lift the very center of your chest a little bit more. Arms go forward, hands come down to frame your right foot. Runner's stretch. Shift your seat back, straighten your right leg, and pick up your right toes. You might need to shimmy your right heel forward a touch here, but we're looking for a hamstring stretch. Keep your head and your chest lifted, and keep the front body long here too. Distance between the pubic bone and the heart center. Rebend your right knee, place your right foot on the ground, tuck your left toes under and pick up your left shin. Reach for your blocks, bring them on the tallest setting underneath your shoulders. Then walk those blocks forward, shift your weight into your right foot, supported warrior three. Today, as you lift your left leg, point your left toes back behind you and give a little bit more attention to the inner line of your left leg. Wrap it upward. Your head and your chest stay lifted here too. Soften your standing knee, step your left foot down next to the right, little space between your feet, fold down over your legs, Uttanasana. Your hands can stay on these blocks, or you can grab a hold of opposite elbows. Take any small movements that feel natural to you here. Maintain a tiny bend in the knees so that you can distribute the weight underneath your feet evenly. Bring your hands to your shins, lift up your chest. Bring your hands to your hips, narrow your elbows. Come all the way up to stand on tall, straight legs. Tadasana, mountain pose, arms by your sides. Sweep your arms forward and up. Find a high prayer overhead. Press your palms together, and then take your prayer through your midline as you fold down over your legs. Uttanasana, hands to the floor. Little bend in your knees. Step your left toes to the back of the mat for a low lunge. Listen, we're taking an early triangle pose here. Swivel your left heel down to the ground. Start to straighten your right leg. Bring your right hand to your right shin. Bring your left hand to your left hip. Steer your right ribs underneath of you as you open your chest toward the left side of your space, and then pick your left arm up. So it's a familiar pose, maybe a new entry into it. Actively reach down into the soles of the feet. Use that contact to firm your quadriceps. Stand all the way up, wide arms, breathe in. Bend your right knee, warrior two. Your stance might need to get a little longer, and that's okay. Keep your right knee bending, flip your right hand, peaceful warrior, lean back. Cartwheel your hands down around your right foot, step back, downward facing dog. Let's try that all on the left side. Reach your left leg straight up and back. Keep the hips level and closed. Step your left foot forward between your thumbs, low lunge. Tap your right shin down to the floor. Point your right toes, reach your arms forward and up, Untitled Crescent moon. And as you stamp down into this left heel, can you work on capturing more space between your hip points and your bottom ribs? Arms go forward, hands come down to the ground. Shift your seat back, straighten your left leg, pick up your left toes. Aim the sit bones toward the back edge of your mat. Keep the sides of the waist long. Rebend your left knee. Curl your right toes under, low lunge. Reach for your blocks. Bring them underneath your hands, underneath your shoulders, and then walk the blocks forward, supported warrior three. Press down into the hands. Let the support really inform the length that you can find in your spine here. Point your right toes. Lift a little more through the right hamstring. Work the right glute. Right foot down. Fold over your legs. Uttanasana at the top of the mat. Again, hands can fit on top of these blocks, or you can take opposite elbows. Free up your hands, bring them to your shins, lift the chest, flat back. Telescope the sides of the waist over the top edge of the mat. Bring your hands to your hips next, and then flat back your way up to stand. Press actively down into the feet, tall legs, Tadasana, mountain pose. Reach your arms forward and up. High prayer overhead. You might even look up at your thumbs. Prayer comes through the midline, fold down over your legs. Uttanasana, hands to the ground. Little bend in the knees, step your right foot to the back of the mat for a low lunge. Set up a ground up triangle pose. Swivel your right heel down, straighten your left leg, left hand, left shin, right hand, right hip. Firm your left seat in and underneath of you as you turn your trunk to the side. Reach your right arm up. Come all the way up to stand, wide arms, breathe in. Bend your left knee, warrior two on your breath out. Peaceful warrior, flip your left hand, keep the left thigh heavy as you lay back and open the left waist. Circle your hands down to frame your left foot, low lunge, flick up your right heel, step back, downward facing dog. Plank pose. Lower all the way down to your belly. You're welcome to tap your shins down to the ground first. Elbows bend straight back. Press down into the tops of the feet. Lift up your chest, cobra pose. Wrap your elbows in. Lower your way back down. Press back, downward facing dog. One step at a time, walk your feet up to the top of the mat. When you reach the top of the mat, lift up your chest, flat back. Bring your hands to your hips. Come all the way up to stand. Tadasana, mountain pose. Surya Namaskar, one breath, one movement. Sweep the arms forward and up, high prayer, breathe in. Fold over your legs and breathe out. Uttanasana. Lunge your right foot back, look forward, inhale. Left foot meets the right, downward facing dog, exhale. Shift out long into a plank pose, breathe in. Bend your elbows lower halfway or all the way down. Upward facing dog or cobra pose, inhale. Downward facing dog, exhale. Reach your right leg straight up and back, breathe in. Step that foot between your hands, low lunge, breathe out. Listen carefully. Straighten your right leg, bend your left leg. Pick up your right toes and look forward. This is your breath in. Press off your back foot, step forward and fold over your legs on the breath out. Soft knees, swing your arms forward and up, breathe in. Drop your arms by your sides, Tadasana, breathe out. It'll go like that. Arms forward and up, high prayer, inhale. Fold over your legs, Uttanasana, exhale. Left foot back, breathe in. Downward dog, breathe out. Plank pose, inhale. Lower half or all the way, exhale. Up dog or cobra, inhale. Downward facing dog, empty that breath. Left leg stretches up high, breathe in. Low lunge, breathe out. Straighten the left leg, bend the right, breathe in. Press off, step forward, fold, breathe out. Arms swing forward and up, inhale, stand tall. Arms drop, exhale. Arms forward and up, high prayer, breathe in. Fold over your legs, breathe out. Lunge your right foot back, breathe in. Downward facing dog. Plank pose, inhale. Bend the elbows, chaturanga if you're ready. Upward dog, or you stay with cobra, that's fine. Downward facing dog. Right leg reaches up, breathe in. Low lunge, breathe out. Straighten the right leg, bend the left, inhale. Press off, step forward, fold, exhale. Arms swing forward and up, breathe in, stand tall. Arms drop, Tadasana, exhale. Arms forward and up, high prayer, breathe in. Fold, breathe out. Moving on the rhythm of your breath, left foot back, inhale. Down dog, exhale. Plank pose, breathe in. Elbows bend, chaturanga. Urdhva Mukha Svanasana is upward dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana is downward dog. Left leg reaches up, breathe in. Low lunge, breathe out. Straighten the left, bend the right, breathe in. Press off, step forward, fold, breathe out. Arms go forward and up, inhale. Arms drop, Tadasana, exhale. Arms forward and up, breathe in. Fold, breathe out. Right toes back for the lunge, inhale. Dog pose, left foot meets the right. Plank pose, chaturanga dandasana. Upward facing dog, lift the thighs, lift the chest. Downward facing dog, from the pit of your belly, roll up and over the toes. Stay right here in your downward dog. And listen, the most important component of downward dog is the length in the spine. And so if you need to maintain a little bend in your knees to keep lifting your outer hips up and away from your hands, then do it. Otherwise, straighten your legs here. Pick up your toes and feel how the fronts of the legs wake up. Use the action of the outer hips lifting up and back to create more space along the sides of your waist. And then lift your heels up. Step your big toes to touch. Climb the feet forward just a little bit. Look between your hands, bend your knees, step or hop to the top of the mat. When you reach the top, lift your chest, fold over your legs. Arms go forward and up, breathe in. Arms by your sides, Tadasana, breathe out. Arms forward and up, inhale. High prayer, fold, exhale. Last time like this, left foot back, breathe in. Downward dog, breathe out. Plank pose, inhale. Elbows bend, hover. Upward dog. Downward facing dog. Again, can you find this action of the legs elongating, the quadriceps firming and moving back toward the bones, the thigh bones? Lift up your heels. Big toes touch. See the space between your thumbs, bend your knees, step or hop into that place. Lift the chest when you get there. Fold over your legs. Arms go forward and up, breathe in. Arms by your sides, breathe out. Arms forward and up, inhale, high prayer. Fold over your legs, exhale. Listen, your first option is to bend your knees, plant your palms, and hop back to downward dog. Second option is to climb up to your fingertips and pull the sides of the chest forward. Keep the sides of the chest going forward. Bend your knees, plant your palms. We hop right to chaturanga, land on soft elbows. Upward dog. downward facing dog. All right, stretch your right leg straight up and back. Step that foot between your hands. Warrior one, swivel your left heel down, lift your arms up. Send this right shin forward. Wrap your right waist back and take the bend out of your elbows so that the upward reach of your arms and hands helps the side body get taller too. It's like the waist can extend up through the fingertips. Keep the deep bend in your right leg. Send your chest forward and your arms back by your sides. We'll call this half devotional warrior. So hover your trunk over the top of your right thigh. Take your right sit bone and move it back toward your left inner heel. And now, from the support of your belly, drop your arms, swing them forward and up. Warrior one, straighten the right leg. Pick up your right toes, parallel your feet. Turn your left heel in, your left toes out to the back of the mat. Bend your left knee, warrior two. Adjust your stance as necessary. Straighten both of your legs, lift your arms up. Pick up your left toes, parallel your feet. Pick up your right toes, turn them forward, warrior two. Peaceful warrior, flip your right hand, lean back. Triangle pose, straighten your right leg, bring your right hand to your shin, left arm reaches up. So a familiar shape, we've been here before, but we're entering from a different angle, let's say. Make the base strong by pressing into your feet, firming up the quadriceps, but then lean into the shoulder blades, lean into the back body enough today that you feel an opening across the crest of your left hip point. Listen, bring your left hand to your left hip. Turn your eyes to the top of the mat. Half moon pose, bend your right knee, hop your left foot in. Grab a block with your right hand and stretch a strong, straight left leg back behind you. Point your left toes today. So it's just a little detail that we change up. Reach your left arm up to the sky. Feel the distance, the connection even between your left hip point and your left big toe. This left leg is sharp like an arrow behind you. Start to bend your standing knee. We're stepping back into warrior two. Let your left toes find the back of the mat. Settle down through strong feet. Keep them there then. Straighten your right leg, flip your right hand, reverse triangle pose. Distance from right big toe to right fingers. Bend your right knee, hands to the floor. Step back, downward facing dog. Let's take a side plank on the left hand and the outer edge of the left foot. You can stack your feet or you can stagger them. That's up to you. Or reach the right arm up. Lift the left waistline and shape the feet as if you were standing upon them so the legs are strong and you're active through your edges. Right arm overhead. Hands down, downward dog. Let's take this on the other side. Reach your left leg up. Step that foot forward, Virabhadrasana one. Right heel down, arms up. And now warrior one is a neutral hip shape. So can you take this left shin forward so you find a deep bend in the left knee? Use that to help you drag your left outer hip back and your right hip point your right waist forward. Hinge forward now, half devotional warrior. Keep the collarbones broad. Keep resistance back through your right heel. Move your left sit bone back in that direction. Warrior one, sweep the arms forward and up. Straighten your left leg right away. Pick up your left toes, parallel your feet. Turn your right heel in, your right toes out to the back of the mat, warrior two. Straight legs, arms lift, parallel feet, breathe in. To the front of the mat, turn your left toes, bend your left knee. Peaceful warrior, turn the left palm, lean back. Triangle pose, straighten your left leg, and take your time getting into that pose. Like, live in the transition there. Left hand to the shin, right arm lands upwards. That's the beauty of the vinyasa practice, right? We've got point A, point B, but we also have the space between. Bring your right hand to your right hip. Turn your eyes to the top of the mat. Ardha Chandrasana, half moon pose. Hop the right foot in. Ground down through the left heel. Organize your right leg behind you. Point your right toes today. Reach your right arm up. and you're getting longer. It's like the energy streaming through the tips of your right toes are going back, and then the crown of the head goes away. Big step back, warrior two. Bend your standing knee, land your right heel. Once you've got your feet in place, straighten your left leg, lean back, reverse triangle pose. Bend your left knee, hands hit the deck, downward facing dog. Side plank, right hand, outer edge of the right foot. Lift your left arm up to the sky. Your tailbone moves in, your quadriceps move back, thigh bones move back. Left arm reaches overhead. Hands down to the mat, downward facing dog. You can stay and breathe or shift into plank pose. Bend your elbows and lower, half or all the way. Upward dog or cobra. Downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Step your feet to touch. Lift your heels. See the top of the mat. Make your way there. Walk, hop, or step. Heart lifts. Head falls. Arms sweep forward and up. Breathe in. Arms by your sides. Mountain pose, Tadasana. On your breath out. Okay, take your tall blocks and place them at the top of your mat, about shoulder width distance apart. Bring your right hand to your right hip. Bring your balance into your right foot, and then hamstring curl your left heel toward your seat, catch a hold of your left ankle. This is all we're doing. We're not gonna turn this into a dance or anything like that. But I want you to bring as much awareness to the simplicity of this pose as possible, right? You can see that my left thigh is moving forward of my right one. So do your best to align the thigh bones. Firm your right outer hip in. Direct the left knee point down. And then give it a tiny tuck to the pelvis. The pubic bone, moves up toward the navel center. And we lengthen through this left quad. Bring a little bend to your standing knee. Can you keep your hips nice and square like this? Warrior three. Free up your left leg, reach it behind you as you send your chest forward. Arms go back by your sides. Point your left toes today. The left hip point curls down. Left inner thigh wraps up. Lower your hands down to your blocks. Bring them with you into a low lunge. So you step back, land the left toes. Bend the right knee. Tap your left shin down to the mat. Untuck your left toes. Listen carefully. Press into the top of your left foot and lift your left knee up off the ground. So we've got a big opening across the front of this left hip here. You can stay just like this. This is a lot. Or you can bring your hands up to your right thigh, upright yourself even further. You can even lift your arms up. Your choice. If your arms are up, as casual and as cool as possible, can you bring your hands back down to the blocks? Everybody tap your left knee down, tuck your left toes under, lift your left knee back up. Pyramid pose, swivel your left heel down, start to straighten your right leg, and then let your head and your chest drop. Anchor down through this left heel point. Root down through both of your feet equally. Firm up the quadriceps and start to round your way up to stand. And then once your armpits stack over your hips, toss the arms up here so you can feel the sides of the waist get tall. Bring your right hand to your right hip. We're setting up a revolve triangle pose. Start to reach forward with your chest and this long left arm. Keep this left heel bone grounded. Reach for a block if you'd like its support. It can go on the inside or outside of your right foot. Slip your right palm to your lower back and start to grow the sides of the chest forward as you roll your left ribs under. You firm your left shoulder blade onto the back ribs. Broaden across your right collarbone, and then you can reach your right arm up to the sky. Revolve triangle pose. Every time we twist, it's an opportunity to elongate as well. So as you root into that back foot, keep the armpits lengthening toward the top short edge of your mat. And then bring your right hand down. Let your head drop, pyramid. Little bend in your right knee, step your left foot up to the top of the mat. Reorganize your blocks on the tallest setting, shoulder width distance apart at the top of the mat. Uttanasana, chair pose. Bend your knees, lift your arms. Can you bring your awareness to your back waist here? The tendency is to throw the ribs forward and to send the sit bones back. Instead, can you fill up the space of the back waist by giving your sit bones direction? Move them toward the creases of your knees. Straight legs, drop your arms, Tadasana, mountain pose. Left hand, left hip. Balance comes into your left foot. Hamstring, curl your right heel toward your seat and grab a hold of your right ankle. Align it. You've got balanced hip points, balanced knee points. Your right thigh bone moves back in line with the left one. And again, despite the simplicity of the shape, can you practice the advanced awareness of the subtlety of the work in the pose? Keep the hips level, a little bend in your standing knee. Warrior 3 with the arms back. So start to lean the chest forward, free up your right leg, point your right toes today. Brighten up the fingertips. Use the resistance back through your hands to help you spread across your chest. Lower your hands down to your blocks. Take a big step back, low lunge. Right toes land the back of the mat. Tap your right knee down. Point your right toes. Press into the top of that right foot and lift your right knee up. Stay or bring your hands to your left thigh. Stay or lift your arms up. You have to press like crazy into that left heel. And then as chill as possible, release the hands back down. Tap your right knee down. Tuck your right toes. Pick up the right knee. Pyramid, swivel the right heel down, straighten the left leg, and then let your chest and your trunk fall forward. Identify the anchor point of this back foot. Keep your legs tall and active. Round your way up to stand upon them. And then once you're tall, float the arms up here too. Bringing your left hand to your left hip. Pavrita Trikonasana, start to reach forward, forward, forward. Left outer hip drags back in opposition. Right hand can come down to a block or the floor, left hand to the lower back. First turn from the ribs, the waist and the shoulders. It's first the waist, then the ribs, then the shoulders. Left arm lifts. One more breath in. Left hand comes down. Let your head go, pyramid. A little bend in your left knee. Step your right foot up to the top of the mat. You can reorganize your blocks. Uttanasana, chair pose. Bend the knees. Bring the weight back through your heels so you can feel like they can pin down through the floorboards beneath you. Stand up, drop your arms, Tadasana. Reach your arms forward and up, breathe in. Fold down over your legs, breathe out. You're welcome to hop to downward dog here or lift up your chest, prepare. Bend your knees, plant your hands, hop to chaturanga, land on soft elbows. Upward dog, downward facing dog. Reach your right leg straight up and back. Step that right foot forward between your thumbs. Grab your blocks, tall blocks. Tap your left knee down to the ground. Untuck your left toes. And then bring the blocks back to frame your hips so that you upright your chest here. It might just be fingertips on the blocks, and that's okay. Find the contact of the top of the left foot on the floor and lift up your chest. Shift your seat back, straighten your right leg. Ardha or half Hanumanasana, runner stretch. Let's do it again. Bend your right knee, lift up the chest. Straighten your right leg, shift your sit bones back, pick up your right toes. You're welcome to stay here, or we'll come toward the full split using the support of the blocks. Lift up your right heel some, send it forward, let your pelvis shift forward and down, but keep your armpits positioned over your hips. Actively press down into the block so that you stay tall. And then if there's room for it, you can descend. Bring the block underneath your right hand. You can bring it to a lower setting and bring it underneath your right sit bone. Now, everyone's anatomy a pelvic anatomy is a little bit different, and so you might not come down as low as me. You might be even lower than me. But can the work here be with the back leg? We've brought a lot of attention to it at practicing today. Root into the top of the left foot, wrap your inner left thigh up and in, and then take your right leg and move it back. You can keep your left hand on this block. You can bring your hands into a prayer. You can bring your arms up. That's all up to you. Keep your breath steady, even. And then when you're ready, the hands come back down to the blocks, tall blocks. Our exit strategy is back to that runner stretch. So press into the blocks, keep your right leg straight. Lift up your right heel, slide the hips back. Bend your right knee, blocks aside, downward facing dog. Pedal out the feet, even out. And then this is the last time, lift your left leg straight up and back. Step that foot between your hands. Tap your right shin down, untuck the right toes, grab those blocks, bring them back beside your hips, and lift up your chest. So your side body's nice and tall. You're actively pressing into this left foot to help you lift through the chest too. Shift your seat back, straighten your left leg, pick up your left toes. Again, bend the left knee, lift up the chest. Shift the seat back, Ardha or half Hanumanasana. You can keep flowing back and forth between those two poses. You can stay here, or here we go. Press into the blocks, pick up your left heel, slide it forward. Let the pelvis sink forward and down, but keep lifting from beneath the armpits by pressing down into the blocks. Stay just like this, or bring the block underneath your left hand, beneath your left sit bone. Again, the inner right thigh wraps up toward the ceiling to take your right hip point forward, and the left leg moves back in space. Hands can be on blocks, hands can be in a prayer, arms can lift. So we're tall and narrow. When you're ready, hands come down. Press into the blocks, pick up your left heel, scoot your hips back, your left leg stays straight. Bend your left knee, tuck your right toes under, downward facing dog. Walk your feet back a little bit, so you got a slightly longer downward dog stance. We're coming right into upward facing dog, some symmetry here. Over the tops of the feet, arms stay tall, chest lifts. Downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Tap your knees down to the mat, child's pose. Feel the spread across the lower back there. Climb up to your hands and knees. Walk the knees forward. Cross at your ankles, your shins. Have a seat on your mat. Take your legs out long in front of you. Bring your blocks with you so they're within your reach. Just like we did at the top of the mat, or at the top of the practice rather, keep your legs long, reach your arms forward, round your way down onto your back. Bend your knees and place your feet on the floor. Reach for one of your blocks, lift up your hips, and position a low and wide block beneath your sacrum. Feel the spread of the sacrum on the support of that block and release any tension, any gripping in that place. Soften your belly, experience the gentle slope from hips to armpits. You can stay here if you're happy here, or lift your feet off the ground, knees toward your chest, stretch your legs straight up. You can remain exactly as you are positioned on this block, but I think that you can make it slightly more comfortable for yourself by lifting up your seat and wedging the block underneath of you. So you'll have to pick up the edge of the block that's furthest away from your body, lift it up so that when you drop back down, your body weight is descending into the smooth edge of the block. And we have this softness at the knee joints so that the legs plug back down into the body. Lift your arms up to match the legs and let the wrists be relaxed. The shoulders are relaxed too. The arms plug back down into your trunk. It's got this vibe of like a dead bug. Good. Drop your arms by your sides, bend your knees, place your feet on the mat. Lift your hips up off of the block and move it aside. Slowly bring your spine back down to the floor. Give the knees a little swing from right to left. Real easy. Find center. Hug both knees into your chest. Soles of the feet together, knees wide. Grab a hold of your ankles and pull your heels in toward your body. You can stay just like this, or turn it into happy baby. Lift your feet up, widen the heels. You can even straighten out your legs here if you'd like. Soles of the feet come back together. Knees come back together. Feet step down to the floor. Walk your legs out long, one by one. And we'll come into Shavasana. Your arms can drop by your sides or your hands can rest on your abdomen. That's up to you. When you land here, tuck the flesh of your upper back beneath you so that the space across the heart can sit open and supported. Soften your eyes closed if that's okay for you. And as the physical body begins to settle into stillness, you can observe how beneath the surface there's still a lot flowing. There's still a lot of momentum. Can you do your best to loosen your grip on the control? In other words, become a spectator to the flow of your breathing. Do your best to resist the urge to connect to a certain thought in your mind. And instead, rest in this place where you're simply watching it all. You're welcome to remain here on your back body for as long as you feel you need to. But when you're ready, let your breathing get bigger. Expand the inhalations, the exhalations. Bring some organic movement into the body. Make small shifts, fingers, toes, ankles, wrists. Place your feet on the mat. Roll onto your right side. Spend a moment there. And then make your way up to a seat. Cross-legged seat, just like the one we began in. Bring one hand to your heart, one hand to your belly. Take a moment to thank yourself for showing up to your mat. For putting in the work, putting in the time to do something good for your body, your mind, the people around you as a result too. Gather your hands into a prayer. Bowing down to your efforts and to your practice. Thank you so much for letting me guide you. I hope to see you again on the mat really soon.